What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another Dota 2 commentary brought to you by yours truly, B-Ballin. And I am here with the matchup from the Dota 2 Raidcall League between Navi and Liquid. Now, I said Luminous would be casting this match, but he chose VP versus Dignitas because Envy apparently already saw this matchup, but I have yet to see this matchup. And this is game 2 of this matchup. And of course, if you want other options to check out this VOD, check out youtube.com/OneMoreGameTV2 or twitch.tv/OneMoreGameTV2 for AC and Drascala's cast of this VOD. I'm sure it was fantastic, but this is game number 2. Game 1 was pretty one-sided in favor of Navi, and a lot of discussion has been going on, I think, last year and towards the end about Havos underperforming, but so far, people have been very impressed with how Havos has been performing lately. Navi is looking in a lot better shape than the little bit of slump they had towards the end of 2012, even though they still won Star Ladders, so we'll see if Navi can keep up the momentum. Meanwhile, Liquid have been struggling a little bit, but I am fully confident with Captain like Fluff, with Bulba, with TC, with Korok, and with IX Mike on their team, they will be able to turn around sooner rather than later. So we'll see how this game goes. So we have Navi banning out the Barrier because they have first pick, but I guess they don't really want to, they don't really feel like playing it themselves. Meanwhile, Liquid gonna bat out the Nyx and the Undying. So Navi, or Liquid had the first pick, my bad. So that's why Navi banned out the Barrier. So Liquid do have the first pick up right now. And I guess the best choice here would probably be Magnus, unless they decide to go for something different. So Magnus probably the best choice in this situation for Team Liquid. Very versatile hero, can solo mid, can solo offlane, and of course reverse polarity being one of the best, if not the best ultimate in the game. AoE, black hole, non-channeling, does damage, sucks everybody in a giant vacuum, goes through BKB. I mean, what more can you want in life other than, other things that you could want in life? Sorry, just kind of struggling to come up with a fair comparison right there. But Liquid does pick up the Magnus. We'll see what Navi decides to go for. I know they've been favoring Lifestealer pretty hard as a carry lately, if not Phantom Lancer with the Cloning Blade bug. And this match was played before the Cloning Blade patch, but it is going to be Lifestealer along with Lone Druid. So Lone Druid for Light of Heaven and Lifestealer for Havos. So already two tanky heroes who can survive reverse if the other team isn't too high leveled. So this seems like pretty smart counter picks by Navi. Of course, they will still get stunned by reverse, but they'll be able to survive a lot of the initial damage. One of the unfortunate things is that because these two heroes are melee, they will tend to clump up as they go uphill or to siege a tower or to attempt to siege the base. So it makes it a little bit easier for Magnus to get off an easy reverse. But we'll see what Liquid decides to do to combat this. Maybe we'll get some, or maybe we'll see what Navi decides to do to sort of make up for this fall. Maybe they're just going to get 3 ranged supports. Keeper of the Light is still in the pool. Keeper of the Light, very, very trendy support lately, but it is going to be a Shadow Demon. This indicates that Liquid probably going to be a bit more aggressive, probably the best ganking support in the game in the form of Shadow Demon. And Disruption Soul Catcher means that anybody will die. Of course, Lifestealer does purge off the Soul Catcher, but keep in mind, you can purge through that Lifestealer through his Rage. So far, Liquid has 2 solid pickups against that Lifestealer Rage because you can't, or you can purge right through the Rage, and you can reverse right through the Rage. So 2 ultimates that go through Magic Immunity right there for Team Liquid. Means that Lifestealer probably won't have as free reign as he usually does in team fights. Meanwhile, Liquid gonna pick up their secondary support in form of Chen. I don't know if that was to prevent Navi from picking it up. Maybe they have a push strat in mind. Liquid does, but we will see. But keep in mind, this is game 2, so if Liquid loses this match, they do drop this series in the Dota 2 Raidcall League, so we'll see if they can make any adjustments from their first matchup. Unfortunately, I do not honestly remember the picks and bans from the first game, because all I know is that it was pretty much very one-sided. But Navi, how will they counter this Chen pick? Will they pick up Enchantress to give them a jungling presence to give Chen a lot of nightmares? They do have Infest to eat one of Chen's creeps if Chen micros improperly, but still Infest 100-second cooldown, not really the most reliable mechanism. Maybe Navi will counter with a lot of Midases to Midas those Chen creeps and make it really annoying for Chen to sort of pick up some creeps and all of a sudden they're just not in the team fight anymore, or not in the push just because I hand a Midas. But that is also another sort of pseudo strategy in the works, because keep in mind that if you do get a Midas, your core or your big damage items will get heavily delayed, so maybe Liquid will start to push in before that if Navi goes for Midas. And Navi gonna pick up the Wisp. They have been experimenting with the Wisp very heavily recently. Wisp synergizes so well with so many heroes. Of course, with Wisp Lifestealer combination teleportation gank is just very annoying to deal with. And Wisp does give Leicester some nice magic reduction, some nice attack speed boost. Of course, the Lone Druid gives the bear a lot of attack speed boost, and the the damage reduction should be very, very good in terms of seizing the tower. Because oftentimes the poor bear is sitting there wailing on the towers and then taking so much damage as all the creeps die around him, and then that means the bear takes a little bit of unwanted physical damage. But Wisp can definitely help to prevent some of that. Meanwhile, Liquid banning out solo mid heroes. Meanwhile, Navi gonna ban out some carry heroes. Luna has already received the ban stick. Probably gonna pick up heroes that don't do that do well against Lifesteer and Lone Druid. I don't think Luna honestly does too well against Lifesteer or Lone Druid, but I guess Navi just fears that in conjunction with the Chen push, it could be very, very deadly, considering Navi doesn't really have the best counter pushing mechanisms in place just yet. And Liquid clearing those solo mids who also have decent creep clearing mechanisms for Liquid's push if they decide to go for it. Navi getting about the Broodmaster as well. So maybe they think Magnus is going to go in the offlane at the moment, but Liquid do have a couple options now. Their other supports in the tri lane pretty much solidified. But Magnus is still capable of laning either the offlane or the solo mid position. Especially since Liquid's on the range side, so that Magnus can easily skewer down the cliff and escape from a lot of damage that Navi can put down it if Magnus does go to the offlane. But right now, it's a little bit too early to tell. Meanwhile, Team Liquid getting about the Rubik makes a lot of sense. You don't want Rubik to steal anything like a Hand of God, a Demonic Purge, or a Reverse, and keep in mind Navi's still looking for their secondaries for it. And we all know Dendy's Rubik is pretty sensational, if not probably the best Rubik in the world. So they're just going to remove it from the equation entirely. Makes a lot of sense. Navi getting about the Templar Assassin. Not too sure about this ban, but I guess it sort of makes sense because Liquid is very early to mid-game focused, even though they do have a very strong late-game ultimate in the form of Reverse. Chen and Shadow Demon don't really scale as well. I mean, Shadow Demon has all his spells scale reasonably well, but still. Chen does not scale well to the late game, and Navi just want to eliminate as many potential early to mid game carries, whether it be Brewmaster Ultimate, Luna, or Templar Assassin. So if you look at it that way, then Templar Assassin ban makes a lot of sense. But Liquid, will they pick up their carry, or will they pick up their potential offlane or mid lane hero right now? Probably their carry, so that Navi doesn't... Well, Navi already has their carry, so the order in which Liquid picks it up isn't really too important. And looks like it's a Gyrocopter, so I imagine this will be a carry Gyrocopter rather than the support Gyrocopter we've been seeing lately. And support Gyrocopter, definitely very strong, high move speed, a lot of damage from his nukes, but keep in mind Flat Cannon not that useful as on a support. So Flat Cannon will be definitely a lot more useful. Meanwhile, Navi gonna pick up the Windrunner, so they could potentially do Windrunner offlane, Lone Druid safe lane, Lifesteer jungle. I imagine this Windrunner probably gonna solo mid or be a support, because otherwise it won't really work out as well for Navi. I guess it'll matter when the players pick the hero to see where Windrunner's will fit in. But Windrunner does give Navi some nice anti-push, does give them a mechanism carrier if Wisp cannot get his farm going, and does give them a viable 4-staff carrier to get them out of the way of a potential reverse or potential disruption shenanigan or anything like that. So Team Liquid have to pick up either mid lane or their offlane hero here. So yeah, not really too many strong offlane heroes still left in the pool, and I don't imagine Team Liquid will go for an aggressive tri-lane, considering that Shadow Demon's cooldowns are quite long and won't really fit up too well in the tri-lane versus tri-lane engagement. And of course the power of Chen is that he can push very early on, especially against a very, very unfortunate offlaner who does decide to get put in the role, whether it be Lone Druid or anything like that. And Liquid gonna pick up the Tidehunter, so I imagine it's gonna be Tidehunter offlane, Magnus solo mid. And Tidehunter doesn't really have as good an offlane capability as Magnus, but he does want experience, especially since it looks like Liquid gonna try to take the early game. Really a lot in the burst damage. They do have some insurance with Flat Cannon late game, but really Gyrocopter does not want to be matched up against both Lone Druid and Lifesteer with the help of Wisp in the late game. So Liquid probably going all into the early to mid stages of the game, and this is a pretty interesting strategy. It reminds me a lot of LGD Int. If you've watched any of their game, they pick up Tidehunter, Chen, and some sort of carry, and then once they hit level 6, Tidehunter just always stands very far in the front with the presence of Ravage in the back of everybody's mind. And teams can either fight that head on or just forfeit the tower. So Team Liquid Looks like they're gonna 5-man it up once Tyrant hits that level 6, so really interesting strategy. And considering how one-sided the game 1 was, I think Navi won in about 20 minutes. This is definitely a very... It'll give Liquid a lot of confidence, but it also gives them a bit of clock to run on. Meanwhile, Navi, how will they respond to it? I wonder if they've studied any of LGD's ints replays. Probably not recently, because they aren't having to face them anytime soon. But I imagine once TI3 starts approaching, they will start studying the replays more and more heavily. Maybe then watching some of the G League matches, but I'm not too sure.
Disruptor.
And it's going to be a Disruptor pickup for Navi. So it's going to be trialing of Wisp, Lifestealer, Disruptor versus a Lone Druid offlane with a Windrunner safe lane. But I feel like Disruptor is one of those supports who just really wants a lot of experience, so ars-art going to be hard-pressed to find experience in a lot of these places, and considering that Tyrant are going to be in the solo lane, while Disruptor most likely going to be in a dual lane capacity if Wisp does help out in the mid lane, or a tri-lane capacity, then Tyrant will hit level 6 before Disruptor can potentially even hit level 4 if they don't keep the Tyrant properly back. So I'm not too sure about the Disruptor pick, but it does make sense because Team Liquid will want to clump up with Tyrant in front, and keep in mind Static Storm, one of those ultimates that won't get dispelled by Kraken Shell because it is just in the face of everybody for such a long duration of 5 seconds, which is pretty significant. If you take a fight for 5 seconds without Ravage because of that Static Storm, then you are pretty much golden for that team fight, because Lifestealer will be able to kill down at least one of these supports with the help of Lone Druid. But yeah, pretty risky strategy by both sides. Liquid going for all out early game, and meanwhile Navi going for an extremely experienced dependent lineup. And I think in order for Navi to make this work, they might have to dual lane mid. Of course, Lone Druid could be a potential mid lane candidate, but I imagine they want to shut down the Magnus as hard as possible, but we'll see as this game gets underway. We'll choose the players and teams, so it's going to be TC playing the Tyrant, Korok is going to be playing the Gyrocopter, Fluff is playing the Chen, Bulbous playing the Magnus, and IX Mike is going to be playing the Shadow Demon. Meanwhile, on the side of Navi, we're going to have Puppy playing the Wisp. Looks like Havost is playing the Lifestealer, Dendy's playing the Windrunner, ars-art is playing the Disruptor, and Light of Heaven is playing his famous Lone Druid. And I don't know if you've ever watched that Dota 1 game where Light of Heaven managed to get a 12-minute Radiance with only one tower of backup. To be fair, he was given a completely free lane, but still very impressive. But honestly, I don't remember that replay off the top of my head. So, just gonna take a look at the items. Ours are already gonna ward off. They are anticipating, looks like a offensive try-on with Chen jungling, but I think Chen will most likely be in defensive capacity. Yeah, I really think they want to get the tower pushes going as fast as possible. And this ward, good at blocking the creep camp, but not really too good. I mean, it does see the river and it does see a little bit over here, but I don't imagine that Liquid will try to pressure the offensive tri-lane or the defensive tri-lane of Navi too heavily. So Puppy, no money in the bank. I imagine he helped Havos buy some of these wards, got a courier as well. Maybe helped to pull some items. Dendy gonna be in that solo mid position. Light of Heaven, a lot of gold in the bank. I imagine he got his Stout Shield onto his Spirit Bear. And I think Navi just gonna wait around to try to see how the lane shape up, to see if there is gonna be an offensive try against them or not. And then they'll determine their lane. So now it looks like it is gonna be Dendy in the mid lane, because Dendy does do that better than almost anybody. And Light of Heaven just going to stay very, very safe so far. Jungle creeps have not yet spawned. Light of Heaven looks like he forgot to buy something, as he does manage to pick up that clone bait. He's just going to go immediately to the jungle, realizing that the bottom lane is pretty much forfeited. Really interesting decision. That means Korok will get a lot of free farm, and never want to give Korok too much free farm because he is one of the best North American carries in the game. But still, it does help to save Light of Heaven, and it's not really it's not really like Light of Heaven can get too much experience on the bottom lane, or if the push does come, not really too much a Lone Druid can do to stop that push. And this way, Light of Heaven will get a lot of experience very fast, maybe even pick up a fast minus. As you see, ars-art did place a very aggressive ward and a sentry ward, as Dendy gonna try to lane against Bulba. I imagine Winter does have the advantage because of Windrun trading physical asset and of course being ranged. But Shockwave being so spammable gonna give Winrunner a lot of trouble just until she gets that bottle. But Dendy already is creeping very, very well. Here comes a disruption as a duel run by Fluff and Bubble come in, and Dendy knows that he is done. He's gonna die, and not in a blaze of glory. Meanwhile, TC doing relatively well against ars-art on that bottom lane, and really Disruptor and Wisp, heroes who need a lot of experience as supports. Not really too big of a fan of this, but we'll see. I don't imagine they'll dual lane mid now that Denny should be okay from any incoming ganks. But the Rain do have this side ward while Navi decided to ward out this part a little bit more. And it is actually going to be an aggressive roaming strat, dual roam. Very, very LGD into-esque. And Tidehunter going to definitely appreciate this help. But unfortunately, Chen not able to get the best creep. Did get the Shockwave creep, which does have a lot of mana. And keep in mind that 100 damage nuke, or is it 75 damage? 125 damage nuke very early on is quite relevant. But Liquid are potentially facing a quad lane because Lone Druid is in the jungle, and you never really want to be matched up against a quad lane in any scenario. Bulba gonna spy a wild double damage rune with his little eye. Gonna bottle it very, very happily. Meanwhile, ars-art gonna de-ward that Sentry Ward, but I don't think that Sentry Ward does match to see this Observe Ward, so Bulba should be safe from any incoming ganks, unless of course Navi wrap around this direction.
Bottom tower is under attack.
Yeah, Kark is just like, screw creepy Go, I'm just gonna push in, because there's nobody gonna stop me. So really smart decision making by Karok, saying that, okay, you're not gonna defend this tower, I can last hit under your own tower very, very capably, getting 1 point to flat cannon very early on. Gonna allow him to push a lot faster and get his farm going a lot more quickly. And it doesn't look like Navi's in any hurry to sort of defend against Karok's push. I mean, the support's not really that good in terms of creep clearing. Really surprised to see no Keeper of the Light picked or banned in this situation. Maybe it was banned, maybe I just forgot. But still, Keeper of the Light I imagine would do very well against this Liquid strategy, just because of that incredibly long-range nuke clearing ability. But as it is, Navi can't really defend this tower unless they devote perhaps their own challenge against Karok. Meanwhile, Tidehunter gonna go in as TC is level 3, does have one to Kraken Shell, but nice blocking by ars-art. They got the Lightning Storm on him, but Havos going to be thwarted for a little bit, but a nice glimpse back by ars-art. Some more body blocking. Can Havos get the last hit? ars-art trying to go in. TC is so very tanked, but ars-art does manage to pick up the last hit. Will he die to tower? He does. So TC very happy with that exchange. Did die, but did manage to get himself up a nice chunk of experience, and that means ars-art gonna remain level 2 for a little bit longer. Meanwhile, Light of Heaven looks like he is going to go for the minus, and now that he's level 4, realizing that Chen and Chao Demon are dual roaming, he feels a bit more safe, but keep in mind, Karok, free farm, already has phase boots up, so he's going to be very fast, very furious on that gyrocopter, and he will just push down the way very easily, and Light of Heaven can't really venture too close, otherwise he will just get rocket barraged to death. Meanwhile, Denny going to pick up an illusion rune, going to help him a little bit, but looks like Liquid immediately going to stuff that illusion rune right in its place. And Fluff gonna go back to the defensive jungle, so really interesting dual roam. Very LGD into-esque. But we'll see if the strategy does work out. Because Wisp is a very capable ganker. Wisp only level 3 at this point, but I imagine once Wisp hits level 6, then Navi could get the gank train going and really put a stop to Team Liquid's push by just eliminating those heroes from the equation entirely. Meanwhile, Vos does pick up very early phase boots, gonna pick up the Gloves of Haste, could be for a Midas, most likely for an armlet. And meanwhile, Light of Heaven gonna play very defensively. If I was Light of Heaven, there's not really much I can do to stop this push anyway, so I'd just go back to the jungle where it's nice and safe and cozy. But I guess he didn't really want to go in the jungle not knowing where Liquid Fluff was. But Fluff is here, and Karok is gonna get the last hit very easily with those phase boots. We'll see what Karok goes for, whether he goes for an early game drums, or if he loses it to the Tidehunter. Tidehunter only level 3, so now he's doing a very nice job in terms of keeping Tidehunter back. But since the creep waves are being pushed slightly, because now it looks like they want to apply a bit of pressure on their own, Tidehunter's going to get a little bit more experience. But Liquid more than happy to take this exchange in order to take a tier 2 tower, putting a lot of pressure on Light of Heaven, who just hit level 5. Rocket Barrage is going to be used just to clear the creeps and to intimidate Light of Heaven, saying, look at what all these rockets can do. A teleport in by Wisp is going to immediately have the Infested Lifesteal in him. Here comes Dendy as well. 4-man engagement. Can they pick off anybody on Liquid? IX Mike is going to take a bunch of damage. He's going to end up dying. Looks like Fluff managed to kill Puppy, as Karok so very powerful with the phase boots and the rocket barrage. Keep in mind, Karok does have higher base move speed than Havos, as Karok going to duck into the trees, tango out, and Havos does not have enough mana for those open wounds. He doesn't have anything like a magic wand, but the Lightning Storm might pick up the last hit. It will get the kill, but meanwhile, Magnus does pick up a returning kill onto ars-art. Light of Heaven going to get slowed down by Skewer. Keep in mind, Magnus still has his reverse polarity up. Meanwhile, those illusions of IX Mike going to tried to kill Havos. Havos just going to teleport out. Keep in mind that Puppy teleported with Havos inside of him with that infest. So overall, looks like that engagement was slightly in favor of Liquid. So nice job by Liquid as they managed to get a lot of pressure. Kuraka was able to survive for quite a long time, able to get a decent amount of experience, and Havos really not having enough mana to keep up the chase, but at least Havos did not die, so it could have gone worse for Navi. And looks like Liquid gonna rotate top. Keep in mind TC was level 3, now he's level 5 at this point, and he's gonna get his Ravage up very, very fast. He's actually gonna have his Arcane Boots up as well. And this could be very bad news for Navi, considering that ars-art only level 3, Puppy only level 4.5. And the supports really are the heroes you want to count on in terms of stopping pushes in the early game, but these supports not really getting enough levels to really make that happen. As Korok gonna rotate to the mid lane, is gonna go for that fast Shadow Blade, I imagine. Shadow Blade pretty good on Gyro now because of that attack speed by the Shadow Amulet. And I was a little bit skeptical at Shadow Amulet. And I'm still skeptical about Shadow Amulet, but I'll talk about that later. As Havos gonna infest that Chen Creep, gonna get all to full HP. TC not yet level 6, looks like I expected he's gonna set right back. As ars-art is on the pursuit, getting Lightning Strike. A nice Shackle Shot by Dendi. Light of Heaven Shackle Shot by Dendi. Light of Heaven is so jelly right now. And Lifesteal picks up a double kill. Nicely done by Navi. As that Shackle Shot, Dendi, knowing that his services are very much needed at this point, gonna just keep up his roam. Only level 7. But still, his ganks are going to help secure Navi a safe place in this game. You know, I love what Navi's doing with Puppy, trying to get as much experience as possible. Even get a little bit farm, as I imagine Puppy going to try to pick up an urn whenever he can. But that relocate, very, very crucial for Navi in terms of just getting in the middle of everything on Liquid, disrupting their gank, and potentially catching off a Liquid hero if they're out of position. And I think Liquid do want to have all 5 heroes when the push does go in. So if one of the heroes do end up dying, then Liquid won't really have that easy of time of securing a safe push. As the Navi courier just barely manages to escape from the wrath of Korok, as the courier gonna very, very limping away, if this Weasel courier could potentially limp the Weasel Crow, I think that's what it's called. As it's going to pick up Havos' Armlet. Havos farming very, very well. Has Phase Boots and Armlet. 9 minutes in the game. You can see Havos 61 last hits, but here comes Liquid Assault again with that Shockwave creep. I guess they really want to clear creeps. Chen, not even level 5, so he can't even get that second Chen creep up. But Liquid definitely want to apply a lot of pressure now. Time to is level 6, and looks like Navi not even going to contest this, so they know how dangerous Ravage can be. And they're going to choose to let this tower fall. Looks like Bulba is invisible, so if any Navi reinforcements do come in, Bulba will just be in the middle of everything. But Bulba just dispels the invisibility rune. We'll see if Navi can take this tower, but actually they don't really have too good of a pushing squad on their own. So they are not going to apply any pressure on that top tower. We'll see what Liquid decides to do. Most likely going to rotate middle, but Avos going to help clear up some farm. Puppy gonna hit level 6 right now. But I imagine since Tyrant still has that Ravage online, Liquid just gonna keep 5-manning it up. So Korok, I mean, he'll have to rejoin his team, otherwise he might be in danger of that relocate gank. But looks like Liquid are gonna rejoin or relocate themselves and join Korok on that middle lane. Meanwhile, talking about Shadow, I mean, attack speed is good. The effect, the Shadow effect is a little bit laughable, but Shadow Blade right now, really a strong item on a lot of very, very powerful carries these days. Definitely no longer a joke item, very respectable item. As it's the sort of item that can have a nice cup of tea with a top hat on and definitely enjoy that. But Shadow Blade is going to be finished on Korok, and as you take a look at the early goal advantage, you can see Team Liquid do have an advantage from those 2 towers. Navi have eaten up the kill count. We'll check out the experience. Looks like Dire have a slight experience advantage. Mostly because of Light of Heaven, I imagine, but ars-art really struggling for experience. Almost level 6. I think if ars-art does hit that level 6, Liquid will definitely have to rethink some of their options in terms of just charging Tyrant in front. But they haven't really done that just yet. They haven't really got their 5-man push strat going just yet. But keep in mind, ars-art still a ways away from that level 6, so Team Liquid does potentially have a bit of time if they do want to get the tower push going. Korok gonna go to work on that middle tower. Looks like Chen finally finds a nice creep to go with. Shockwave creep, all well and good, but it doesn't have anything that can hold Navi in place. Light of Heaven just gonna stay in bear form, does add that Hand of Midas to help accelerate experience growth. Interestingly enough, didn't put it on his bear. As there's going to be engaged in Wisp, does teleport in, going to kill off Fluff immediately. Here comes Bubble with that beautiful two-man reverse, but Bubble going to get stun place, called down, doing a bunch of damage. Looks like the Ravage is going to fly in. This should be a team wipe for Liquid in Liquid's favor, but Havos doing so much work at trying to infest the bear. Can Havos escape? No, he infested one of the little Radiant minions, and I don't know if Liquid do know which Radiant minion that Havos has invested. How much mana does Havos have? Will he pop out right now? IX Mike does not have access into that purge just yet. Looks like Puppy gonna teleport in. Havos gonna finally pop out, but he does get immediately netted. Nice reactions by Fluff as TC gonna take a bunch of damage, but nice defensive disruption being cast by IX Mike, and that means Havos and Puppy both gonna die. And again, the team fight of Liquid with the call down, with the reverse, with the Ravage, so deadly that Navi can't really stand up to them with their current levels of farm, at least not without Static Storm. And I feel like it should be Navi's priority to get ars-art as much experience as possible in a solo lane. And he will hit level 6 very, very soon, and the ultimates of Liquid will be cooling down for quite a bit, but still, you want to get as much experience on ars-art as possible. I mean, Static Storm is all well and good, but you want to have a solid level of kinetic field as well. So taking a look at the gold graph, starting to jump in favor of Liquid, experience graph jumping in favor of Liquid as well. Bulba gonna pick up a haste rune, trying to get a blink skewer. Already has his blink dagger up, nice farm by Bulba, and 1k gold in the bank. Will he go straight for that refresh orb? As Navi, they do have the better late game, but this pushing strategy by Liquid definitely gonna throw them for a bit of a loop. Tidehunter getting close to his blink dagger as well, double blink, especially with the Raj to help set up Magnus' reverse. Gonna be so crucial in this engagement whenever Ravage does come off cooldown, which now, fortunately for Navi, it will be on cooldown for the next 50 seconds. Havos put in so much work in that team fight, but unfortunately, 1v5 can't do it by himself on the back of that Light Stealer. And it's going to get worse now that IX Mike does have access to the purge. There's going to be a skewer back onto Dendi. He's going to get blocked. Nice purge by IX Mike. Does secure a kill onto Dendi. ars-art going to take a bunch of damage. Does he have the ultimate up? He does not have the ultimate up. He's going to die as well. Shadowblade picking up a kill. IX Mike with the help of Wisp going to pick off two of the Navi heroes. But a reverse play, but a beautiful tether back by Puppy helps secure the life of Vos. Vos pops an infest, trying to get back into the fight as soon as possible, stealing some life as well. Puppy going to go back in. But Liquid gonna have access into the Ravage very, very soon. This could be a cleverly orchestrated bait. Ravage is up, but Havos is just gonna die in by himself. And I don't know if Navi does write down the Ravage timing. I imagine they do. That's why they're spreading so far back. As Puppy would have died for sure. And Light of Heaven is on the pursuit. Does not have access into that bear just yet. Gonna minus a Chen creep, saying screw you, Fluff. Gonna minus that creep, and I'm going home. As Navi gonna push in, but keep in mind, TC does have that Ravaged up. There's gonna be an open wounds. TC gonna pick, but early on, Ghost Scepter, beautiful decision by TC. Means that Vos rage duration will be essentially wasted. TC gonna take a bunch of damage, gonna defensively disruption. As Fluff does pop the Hand of God. Keep in mind, Hand of God does still heal up your allies even while they're being disrupted. Will Liquid catch up in the chasing department? No, but it looks like they're just gonna 5-man down this top tower while Kurok goes to look for safer farm in safer waters. Kurok almost has that BKB, but by the 15-minute mark, ridiculous farm by both of the carries in this game, despite being under so much pressure, still managing to secure quite a bit of farm. Light of Heaven not having too much fun in this game. I wonder if he's going to go for the Maelstrom build. I imagine that is what he's going to go for. No, he's going to go for Fast Vlad's, trying to give himself as much early game relevance as possible. Not too sure how I feel about this decision, but it does give his team a lot of plus armor when they don't have Basilisk on their team, so that is going to be quite relevant, and gives Lifestealer a bit more lifesteal damage, so overall it probably is the best item considering how much pressure Navi is under in this early game. Kurok gonna take some open wounds right to the face, but just gonna Shadow Blade out to safety. Does anybody on Navi have detection? Puppy does have the Central to ars-art. Finally does hit that level 6, so he has access into that Static Storm. And meanwhile, since TC did go for the Ghost Scepter to prevent a lot of the physical rate damage from Havos or from Light of Heaven, that means TC gonna have to charge up into the front where he is in a bit of danger from that Static Storm. So that is one of the downfalls of that early game Ghost Scepter. But keep in mind, ours are only level 6. Really doesn't have too many points into Kinetic Field just yet, only 1 point. As the pause does go out, slightly experience favoring Navi. Meanwhile, the gold graph definitely favoring Liquid. They do have 3 towers to Navi's 0 towers at the moment. No, Navi does have 1 tower on that top lane. Just checking out the wards, and Navi does have a ward, but I mean, they pretty much know that Liquid's going to be 5-manning it right there. But that does give an indication that Navi, okay, we don't want to relocate gank right there. But we'll see if they can get a relocate going on Korok, as Korok, not maximum HP just yet, is very fast with that Shadow Blade and the phase boots, but still, if Puppey does find a Sentry Ward with open wounds, Korok should die relatively fast. But Puppey, a long ways away, still back in the base, does finish up that urn. Meanwhile, Bulba still saving up a decent amount of gold. Again, not too sure what he's going to go for. Fluff, I imagine. No, he did finish the mechanism despite being quite underleveled because of those 3 towers. And considering Fluff, 4 deaths, but still not losing too much gold in that exchange. It does have a lot of reliable gold. And IX Mike gonna play the support role as well. Shadow Demon, I imagine, bottom of the food chain. No, ars-art actually below the Shadow Demon in this game, and that indicates that Liquid is ahead. But keep in mind, now you do have the better late game, although you can't really count out a team fight with reverse Ravage and Flat Cannon flying in for Korok, especially since Korok had an uncontested lane at the start and has managed to secure himself a very respectable 5-1-5 score. Meanwhile, Havos pops a double damage rune, gonna pop the open wounds on IX Mike. Smoker to see is up on Navi. Looks like Havos is baiting very, very hard, but it looks like Liquid not gonna take the bait. Navi does know that only TC is up there on the top lane because of that Observer Ward, but Havos doesn't really care, just gonna kill up those creep waves. Will the Purge go out on Havos? He's gonna pop the Rage. Here comes the Purge by IX Mike, still going to town. That double damage rune does get dispelled, but here comes the Blink in by Bulba, gonna catch off Puppey. Puppey dies in a matter of instants. Korok does pick a kill on Disruptor, and where is Havos? Havos has to escape as fast as possible, as I don't think Navi really need to take that engagement. Havos is just gonna Rage teleport out of there. Gonna escape. But still, not overall a very favorable engagement for Navi. But they did force the TP by TC. This might be the cue for Liquid to push in the middle lane rather than the top lane. But that does give Light Heaven a slight opening to secure himself so far. Maybe finish up the Vlads. Just gonna give the mice on his bear, get that experience. Not even gonna transfer it to his Spirit Bear. As looks like Liquid don't really know which lane they want to push in just yet, waiting quite a bit of time before using their second Ravage. I imagine if I was Liquid, I'd just be using the Ravage as whenever possible just to try to force engagements. But I guess they know Navi, one of those teams that you don't really want to charge into a team fight without having sort of a proper game plan going into that team fight. As Liquid gonna smoke up, nothing on Navi spotting out that smoke, no sentry wards, and of course the Observer Ward not gonna spot that smoke. So now you're gonna run to the top lane trying to catch out Light of Heaven. Light of Heaven does sense something's up, seeing that there is only one person on Liquid who's revealing himself, which is Korok. They do see the courier, but it is only delivering items to Korok, as Light of Heaven gonna get skewered. Unfortunately, the wrong time to change back to range for him, buddy, as he's gonna die. Bulba is unstoppable, playing very, very well at this point. Meanwhile, Dendy gonna shackle the troll creep so he doesn't get netted to the ground, but the missile's gonna fly in very, very soon. Dendy's gonna force stab himself away to safety. That's gonna ensure the life of Dendy, but that means TC and the rest of the people on Liquid gonna get a free tower without having to use a Ravage. Very, very nicely done for Liquid. That means they can pretty much go for the tier 2 if they really want to. But still, please no, Rocket. What are you doing, Rocket? Stop. And Navi not able to get too much map control. Will Puppey die right now? Gonna get skewered out of the TP. Meanwhile, Gyrocopter picks up a very easy kill on ars-art using the BKB as well. 10-second BKB charge right down the drain, but killing off 2 supports for none. So Liquid looking very strong in this game. Their strategy clearly throwing Navi for a bit of a loop. As Denny gonna get surrounded on all sides, gonna force step him save away from the net. Looks like IX Mike I don't know why he didn't purge. I guess they saw the force staff didn't want to waste the purge and didn't really want to chase because they had no physical DPS dealers nearby. Or not too many strong damage dealers nearby. But Korok continuing to farm up. What are he going to go for now? He has a Shadow Blade, so he'll have attack speed. He does have that BKB up. Looks like Liquid probably going to wait for that BKB back up as Korok is going to get set back home. TC does still have access to the Ravage and is well on his way to his Blink Dagger. So again, ars-art just getting completely mitigating this game because TC gonna have that Blink Dagger up so he can blink in Ravage before ars-art can really place that Static Storm properly. And with the help of Volba in the reverse, then really Navi gonna have 2 or 3 heroes dead at the start of the team fight, leaving only Vos. And Vos did do a remarkable job in the last huge team fight, but he still can't do it by himself. As Vos is just gonna go straight up Reaver, try to tank up. I like this choice a lot, but still, I wonder how much it'll matter if all his team dies around him. But it looks like they're just gonna try to tank up as much as possible with the Lone Druid and the Lifestealer, and hope that they can somehow 2v5 the entire team. But really, considering the farm on Korok, who's gonna go for a Manta style, it might not be likely. So it'll be up to Navi supports getting the proper positioning to survive these team fights. TC, did he reveal his Blink Dagger? I don't think he did. So this might be a surprise dagger all up in your grill. Of course, Navi gonna spread out from that reverse, but Ravage is such a bigger radius that can easily catch off 2 or 3 heroes with that Blink Dagger. Nice deny, but Dendi. Will Liquid keep pushing in? I imagine they want to go for the Roshan now, as this Observer Ward gonna spot out the moon of Liquid if they do decide to go for her there. And TC was spotted out, his Blink Dagger was spotted out by that Observer Ward, so Navi not too keen to take an engagement, and Magnus and Darkseer, the kings of Roshan, so Navi probably not too... They aren't really looking for a Roshan teamfight at this point, with Bulba's reverse up. And Bulba just gonna go straight up for that Refresher Orb. And double reverse with a Ravage means that nobody on Navi will live, not even Havost or Light of Heaven. And I feel like Navi's lanes just really weren't the best ideas for them to counter the strategy, as there's going to be a relocate gank, as looks like the... there was an attempt for an Aegis steal, but Ravage is going to go off. Where's Bulba for that reverse? Trying to catch off Havos, but it looks like Korok picks up a double kill. Who picked up the Aegis? I think Bulba picked up the Aegis as... Yes. No, Gyrocopter... Who had the Aegis? Not too sure, but what matters now is that Navi's getting team wiped, and they're all going to die. Ultra kill being picked up by Korok. Holy smokes. Not too sure why Navi want to take that team fight. They want to go for the Aegis snipe. They had the Static Storm up, which was nicely placed by ars-art. But still, the incredible teamfight power of Liquid. Once they were able to survive the initial assault of the Static Storm, just able to completely crush Navi. And this does mean a middle barracks. How will Navi respond to this? As the Tornado going to drive ars-art back. Only level 7 ars-art, poor guy. Gonna Lightning Storm Bulba, as I didn't know who had the Aegis. Oh, Korok still has the Aegis up. And that means Liquid gonna have free reign to push in once that Ravage goes back down. As they're gonna heal up, but so far Liquid must be feeling pretty confident, even getting a tower deny. Meanwhile, Havos putting in so much work by these teamfights, but that's just sort of the problem with the Lifestealer. He does get easily kited around if he doesn't have supports helping him out. And unfortunately, the supports on Navi just too squishy. Vlad's is finished on Light of Heaven. Magi's gonna go for Maelstrom now, but he's just so underfarmed. Really just gonna be very difficult to get Light of Heaven back in this game. As Dendi, pretty underfarmed as well, only a 4-staff. Wonder if he's aiming for a Blink Dagger or a Mechanism. I feel like now he really desperately needs a Mechanism. But even Mech is still 1k away. Checking out the goal graph, looks like 8k advantage, maybe 8.5k advantage for Liquid once that graph starts to peak. Meanwhile, the experience graph taking a huge jump in favor of Navi. And Bulba gonna have that reverse just finished right now, so now they have access into the double ultimate. And if they get level 16 on Bulba, then I think it might just be all over for Navi. Because that 3.75 second reverse with a 100-second cooldown, not to mention the reverse backing it up, as Bulba and Liquid actually not able to kill the Rex. They did back off before they were able to finish the Rex. Looks like they just want to have all their teamfight ultimates up, but Korok a little bit low in terms of HP. They still have about 3 to 4 minutes left on that Roshan timer, so they don't really have to push in balls deep just yet. As I don't know if that Observer would spy out the Chen creep being smoked. I think it might have. As Navi all gonna run around to say Havos will help you out, or Light of Heaven will help you out in your jungling. But Liquid just gonna stay very close by. I think Navi do know something's up, as they are not gonna reveal themselves.
Bottom tower is under attack.
Oh no, ars-art saying ain't so, man. You're gonna die in a matter of instant, not using any ultimate, using barely any mana. And ars-art gonna be dead for the next 30 seconds. Does Navi have a glyph? They do not. So 30 seconds without that stack storm means that Liquid can position themselves however they please. And that does not bode well for Navi. But still, Navi does have to try. Is Heart finished on Havos? He does have a finished Heart. That's going to make him ridiculously difficult to bring down. But still, I imagine Aegis is going to give Liquid a big advantage in this team fight, especially with a refresher up on Magnus. Double ultimate going through that Rage means that Navi pretty much going to forfeit this tower. Havos just going to push the bottom tier 2. And the bear is going to go in, trying to dissuade the Liquid side, saying, "Go away. We don't like your kind around here. We don't take kindly to your tap around here." Havos is doing the best thing he can do, which is just to apply pressure on the bottom lane. You're going to force the teleport back by Liquid. Or Liquid just going to say, "Screw it, we're just going to push in for the tier 2. There's going to be Wisp relocate in. As Light of Heaven going to apply the bear pressure, this is going to force a teleport back. As Light of Heaven, I imagine Havos is just going to infest the Wisp, and Light of Heaven going to tether back. Can Navi escape? Havos not even going to infest. Havos just going to rage teleport out of there, and is going to escape very, very safely. 135 gold. I don't know why he just didn't infest, but I guess he values the infest 100-second cooldown a little bit more highly than the 135 gold. Considering he has pretty much free farm, really is quite understandable. But that is going to give Navi a bit of time. They did lose the tier 2 tower on the top lane. They did lose their middle barracks. But still, Havos does have that heart, and that is going to waste a bunch of time from that Aegis timer. Aegis is going to be out the next time Liquid does decide to push in. That might give Navi the confidence they need to go into the engagement. They are still very much down, but we've definitely seen Navi come back from bigger deficits than this. I just feel so bad for ars-art in this game. One of my favorite support players, but just having a miserable time. 1.5k net worth. Poor guy. But he's doing an admirable job just keeping up the wards all over the map, spying the positioning of Liquid whenever they spy him. Milovos just kind of have that armlet permanently activated because he has that heart on. It means that Liquid can't really go in to gank him for free, but Liquid not even looking for ganks. They're just going to group up saying, 5-man Dodo, best Dodo. And Dandy gonna go for the Hex, but it'll be a long time before he finishes that unless he has something on the courier, which he unfortunately does not. Still, now you do have to play for the late game, so Hex is probably the best choice, but still, can they handle the next Liquid push? As Liquid not gonna push in, maybe they're gonna wait for the next Roshan, but that is gonna allow Navi a lot of time to farm up. And considering Light of Heaven's been pretty much a non-factor, if he gets up a decent item, Light of Heaven could be a nice factor in these teamfights, but keep in mind, again, Liquid have not yet used their double verse just yet, and Bulb is about to hit that level 16. Could be pretty brutal, especially with that Ace rune. And looks like the two tanks gonna approach the Navi bottom lane very, very aggressively. You know, TC gonna go for a refresher himself, double refresher on two of the best ultimates in the game. Means that no team will be able to survive that onslaught. But still, Havos constantly pushing out the other lanes means that Liquid don't really want to take an engagement without the Aegis. If they can defend some of their other towers, they will do so. And I wonder what Havos is going to go for. I imagine Abyssal Blade. But honestly, I guess he sort of needs Abyssal Blade, otherwise he might just get kited around. But still, that's pretty far away, as Reverse just going to be used on Havos. With the help of Korok, gonna use a call down as well. Can Havos get out of there? Gonna cast another reverse. Didn't think they were gonna cast both reverses, but kill Havos, and Havos does have buyback. I don't know if that was a smart decision by Liquid, but still, they got the kill. And I guess that's what they were gonna go for, at whatever the cost. But still, I think the cost might have been a bit too steep, as Havos not even gonna buy back at this point. Havos just gonna wait as long as possible. You know, haven't checked out Korok's items yet. He's finished the butterfly, so he does ridiculous amounts of damage with that flat can. With the help of Ravage in reverse, gonna be really, really difficult. But I imagine Navi, you don't want to push in without that reverse up. Otherwise, Savos does have pretty much free reign to go as he pleases. But Korok might just be too big of an obstacle for Navi to overcome at this point. We will see. As Roshan gonna spawn in about 2.5 minutes. Both teams playing very cautiously. Again, huge favor in favor of Liquid, but still, again, you don't want to leave a team like Navi sort of just on the outskirts of the game, trying to claw their way back into the game, because Navi, they won't give up, as there's going to be a relocate up to the top lane just to get some push going. Puppy's saying, okay, relocate gank. Relocate is on cooldown, or is off cooldown. We'll just use it whenever possible. Acting as a pseudo keeper though, just going to allow Havos to farm wherever he wants. And he does have that teleport scroll to get him back into the fight as soon as possible. Meanwhile, Liquid gonna have that double combination up in about 50 seconds. Does TC have his own refresher up? Gonna be about 975 gold away. And will Liquid finally push in then? Not too sure. I guess Liquid are just gonna count on their immense teamfight capabilities to sort of seal them the deal, rather than sort of jumping in when Navi's weak. Because Navi is getting quite a bit of time to get their farm going back, as Havost is going to secure this tower very, very easily. That's going to give him a lot of gold. Could potentially pick up a small item and still have access into the buyback. But still, no real item that he can have and still have buyback that Havost can pick up just yet. No real significant item, I mean.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Gonna be teleported back by Korok. Gonna be enough to drive away Havost by himself. Look at how fast this gyrocopter is without that Shadow Blade on, 407 move speed. Meanwhile, Liquid just chilling. They do have double reverse up, they still have Blink Ravage up. I think now is as good a time as any to sort of push in if you're a Liquid person, but Roshan has just respawned. Looks like they're trying to take map control, push in when they can. Or take the Aegis, then push in. And TC won't have access to that double Ravage up just yet. And a very, very cleverly placed Navi ward scouting out the positioning of Liquid. But still, I don't imagine that Navi want to take this fight. They saw how badly the Roshan fight went for them last time. They probably aren't too keen on taking another repeat performance, as Havost gonna go for that MKB to counteract Havost. But just gonna pick up those double javelins so he has access into the buyback. Only 1k gold for that buyback.
Roshan has fallen to the Radiant.
But Korok with that butterfly, with Aegis, considering Havost won't have that won't have access into that MKB for a decent amount of time. With the help of his ultimates, essentially means that Korok is immortal in teamfight engagements. Meow, Light of Heaven just gonna go all out, picking up a Sacred Relic. Gonna go for the Radiance build. Just a split push, I imagine, not for anything else. But still gonna be about 1300 gold away from that Radiance. And here comes the push by Liquid. Bulba, just chilling on the outskirts, does have that reverse. Fluff does have level 2 Hand of God with that Ghost Scepter, as Ghost Scepters abound, and if they don't have a Ghost Scepter, they do have Defensive Disruption or a Butterfly, or are ridiculously tanky like TC, as Double Whirlwind's gonna fly in, driving back Navi, as that bear's gonna take a little bit too much damage. Radiance has been finished on Light of Heaven. No, that's just sort of the sparkling animation of the bear. That bear is just too fabulous. As another relocate being used, just constantly applying pressure. Smart use of relocate, knowing that they can't use relocate for any offensive purposes. But Havosa does have access to the TP.
Radiant's top tower
Will Liquid actually fall for the bait yet again? Or not really the bait. Will they actually teleport back to defend again? TC starting up very confidently, and actually Korok gonna lose his Aegis if he's not careful. Will they send Korok back home?
tower is under attack.
As Havos is gonna clear out the creeps. Not gonna hit the tower at all. He's just gonna rage teleport out of there, knowing that the creeps, since the Siege Dragon creep is gonna come in, the tower will likely fall, but Korok, under a lot of pressure, might just lose the Aegis right now pretty much for free without having taken a team fight. But I think the bear was resummoned on Light of Heaven's part. Yes, it was. So if the bear dies, it will be another 90 seconds before he can resummon again. And the power shot does clean up Korok. Navi just playing this super carefully. And Liquid, I think, are playing it a little bit too carefully.
Tower is under attack.
But look at the position for Navi. Havos isn't even anywhere near the vicinity to be on the outskirt of double Ravage. Or 2 Ravages. But TC gonna have that refresh up if he wants to get it right about now. Meanwhile, Liquid just gonna split push. This is so tense. Boba with that double reverse is gonna be the main man that I'm gonna focus my camera on. Don't let me down, Boba, as it's gonna be initiation. Fluff just gonna pop that Ghost Scepter, should be okay. Havos gonna charge up past the ward. Will they use double reverse on him yet again? Havos played so well this game, but will he die again? In a very crucial engagement, gonna pop the Rage, doesn't have access into the buyback. If he dies right now, that could be curtains for Navi. And he is gonna die, won't have that buyback up, was too greedy for the MKB. Why didn't they just send the courier in? And that's gonna mean pretty much all of Navi's physical DPS is just pretty much down the toilet. And GG's called by Havos, very anticlimactic, as here comes the double Ravage by TC, gonna clean up the engagement. And Havos played so well for most of the game, has played so well recently, but a bit unfortunate to see that he made the game-ending mistake, although it still is looking pretty grim for Navi, let's be fair. But GG's are called all around. Liquid does even up the best of 3 series in the Dota 2 Raidcall League, as here comes Bubble with the reverse. Gonna skewer out from the call down, saving the life of Light of Heaven, maybe a bit inadvertently, but no, Light of Heaven does end up dying regardless.
His middle tower is under attack.
And I don't think I'm going to be casting Game 3 because that was pretty much one-sided as well. Navi were able to come back in spectacular fashion, or not spectacular fashion, able to recover in very strong fashion and ended the life of Liquid very decisively, ending the game in about 25 minutes. And that means that Navi took the series 2-1. So Liquid continuing to sort of search
Dire's middle tower is under
and try to take a series from a big name team. But they definitely have the talents and the teamwork to make that happen.
middle tower has
As the end score is 30-10, but the game was super tense at the end of the game. So Liquid may have won the battle this game, but they did end up losing the ward, unfortunately for them. But yeah, that's going to end this game. So thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this Dota 2 cast. There should be some very exciting series coming up very soon in the Dota 2 Raidcall League with Empire versus Navi, with other really strong teams. And the Defense 3 playoffs is going to happen very, very soon after the tiebreakers, so a lot of exciting Dota 2 happening very, very soon. I definitely won't be looking for games like I was the past 2 days. I'll definitely be sort of have too many games to cast, but hopefully you enjoy that game, and hopefully I can bring you more content. The streak does live on, as, man, it's almost the 20th of January, only about a week and a half to almost 2 weeks left before that streak ends. But maybe I'll continue if there's still a lot of quality games, but I can only do it with your support, so thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.